Hello and welcome to the LoreDump podcast. I am your host, Jared Thorpe, and with me, as always, is the Barney Calhoun to my Gordon Freeman.
Wait, I'm not Adrian Shepard?
No, you're Barney fucking Calhoun, and you will like it.
Fine, I'm Cole Mills.
I want you to know this is our third time recording this.
At least as Barney Calhoun, I come back to the Half-Life franchise.
So, it's only been about an hour and a half since we finished recording Half-Life 1, and we're back for Half-Life 2. Not Half-Life 2. Half-Life Part 2, which is, we're going to talk about the mods of the Half-Life franchise. And I have a question for Cole.
Okay.
It's to explain to us what led to the modding scene of Half-Life.
So, Half-Life, from what I understand, had about, like, they had the Quake engine, but they rewrote most of it. And they made their own thing called the Gold Source engine, which is what Half-Life and a lot of all those run off of.
A lot of early Valve games?
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty much all of them. Until Source. That was
Source, yes.
Yes. So, when Quake came out, it had a huge modding scene. People had skins, maps, their own modes.
Yeah.
And then everyone bought Half-Life because it was so revolutionary.
Yeah, one of the scene-altering games. It completely altered every game to come.
Changed the first-person genre and landscape forever. I would
changed
say.
Storytelling in shooting games forever. You gotta think, a lot of shooting games prior to this didn't really have plots.
A lot of them relied also on cutscenes.
Yeah. And
well, you kill a boss in Duke Nukem, there's a cutscene of him kicking the eye through a football.
Yeah.
For Half-Life, none of that. There's only one bit that's you can't control, but that's whatever.
Yeah.
So when the mods started coming out, and some of them came out maybe a year later, and a lot of them were multiplayer mods, and people loved them and ate them up. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I have a lot of the discs here.
Yeah. Cole brought five discs with you.
I brought 5. One of them didn't have a case, which was an extra copy of CounterStrike we had growing up.
So he has Half-Life CounterStrike, Half-Life Edition Encounter, and all 3 parts of the Half-Life Adrenaline Pack, which comes in 3 separate discs.
Yes.
Half-Life also famous the Team Fortress Classic.
Yep. Well, a lot of the mods were so popular that Valve looked at them and said, "Hey, we'll hire you and we'll sell your game with you.
Make a game for us, please."
Yeah. Just do what you're doing, but officially, and we'll give you resources and whatever to do it.
You know what company needs to do this?
All of them?
Bethesda.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
Bethesda releases broken games and modders fix them. So, why not just hire the modders? Understand your engine better than your developers do.
That's a whole different story in which I will get very mad at.
Fallout's an episode I'm looking forward to.
I hate it. They've ruined what I love, but...
Okay, we're not talking about Fallout now. We're still on Half-Life Mods specifically.
Yes. So let me start off with the first mod. Why not? Team Fortress Classic.
Yes.
In fact, it didn't even start on the Gold Source engine. It wasn't a Half-Life mod. It was a Quake mod. And the Valve employees saw it and hired them to port it to the Gold Source engine to release officially.
I mean, that's smart.
And Team Fortress was you have to realize a lot of these mods change how you gain weapons.
Yes.
A lot of them were like that. Like Quake, you just picked them up and you ran around the map and it was a free-for-all. This was team-based, and you had a class that had its set weapons. And a lot of them have, the DNA of what would become in Team Fortress 2, and they would, refine it.
Yeah, the classes that you know as the Scout, the Sniper,
a lot of them had
demo.
weird little bits. The Pyro has a rocket launcher.
Instead of his flamethrower?
No, he has both. The rocket launcher is
Was there a soldier?
Yes.
What did he have?
A rocket launcher.
So why would you play...
The Pyro had an incendiary rocket that had no splash.
But still, you have the flamethrower and the rocket launcher. You just play the Pyro.
The Heavy had 2 shotguns.
As well as the Gatling, or just 2 shotguns?
As well as the Gatling. Why? I don't know.
As you can tell, I'm only...
You're half knowing of all of this.
I played a lot of TF2. I've
Yeah.
never played any TF Classic.
I played it back in the day. It was very popular. The second most popular mod, in fact.
Yeah, I've
it also had grenades. Classes had grenades, and they had 2 types: a normal and a class specific one. I believe the Scout had dart spikes on the ground you could throw.
I'd give him a Merv.
Um,
It suits his personality.
I think the heavy had like a disc he threw out, and it went up in the air and shot in a disc in a spiral outward.
Can you damage yourself with it?
Oh, well, it's a grenade, so I don't remember. One annoying bit while I was playing it was the medic, because his healing pack could poison people. But while I was playing, I replayed a lot of these mods. And in fact, I played most of these mods to prepare for this. So in order to heal
get me footage.
yes, in order to heal from it, you couldn't heal from like a health pack. You had to find another medic, your own medic. So you just slowly poisoned until you died.
So wait, your medic could poison you?
No, the enemy medic.
Oh, then that's good then. That gives the medic a very good ability of poisoning the enemy.
But I couldn't find my medic, and it was very annoying as I slowly.
Yeah, you suck. Maybe you shouldn't fucking get poisoned. You know, that's your fault for getting poisoned, not the medic's fault.
So a mod within a mod, a server mod, like a game type, was called Homer Ball. I loved Homer Ball. So it was in a box canyon, like a box canyon, a standard square, and in the center was a ball. And like it had 4 teams. It says traditional 2. One was like green and one was like yellow.
Those don't appear in the comics. They might actually. I've never read the
They
comics.
might, I don't remember. But you had to go grab the ball and bring it back to your base. And when you grabbed the ball, you became Homer Simpson. But it became such a free-for-all, and like when you had the ball, all the teams came to fight in your area. It was chaotic and fun, and like people often mixed it with other mods, like a grappling hook mod, so you could fly around a little bit. It was. I wish. Look, Team Fortress 2, bring back Homer Ball, okay?
Team Fortress 3.
Yes. Well, they don't know 3. You had Day of Defeat.
Yeah, Valve does not do 3.
No, he does. They do not.
Day of Defeat.
It was a World War II multiplayer game, like a versus, like Axis versus Allies. At the time, I think like World War II was extremely popular. I think like late 90s.
It's been popular since like.
It's died and come back.
Yeah, but it's like the most popular era of like war games because
Yeah.
it's such an iconic era. All the weapons are iconic, and
Yeah.
also just like the militaries are also super iconic. The Japanese military and their boats,
Mostly
the
this
U.S.
one was-
military and their planes, and the German military and their tanks.
So this doesn't have any like the tanks or anything. It's mostly infantry combat.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like it's like just to the mind, it's a very
Yeah.
iconic period of war. Now, granted, it shouldn't be. Like,
No, it was a terrible.
let's try and bury the past, but you know what? Let's celebrate it through video games.
This one had its own little class-based system. It wasn't as like,
Fleshed out.
like I want to say like you didn't have a role. You had more just weapons.
Oh, so you didn't like it wasn't like the heavy was X. It's more like you pick this class, you have X
You
weapons,
get-
but you can
you
still
get it-
play however you want.
You get an M1 Garand. You get like a Tommy gun. Like obviously the sniper rifle's not going to want to. The sniper class is not going to want to be close range.
Unless you're
or the
really
MG, unless the MG had your mouse sensitivity all the way up. That was a thing, by the way. There's YouTube highlights of people who turn up their sensitivity all the way, and they go Rambo. They call it going Rambo, and they shoot and just slide it all the way down because this mod and its source counterpart had ridiculous recoil, absolutely ridiculous recoil.
I was gonna say, just on a weird note. Speaking of up close sniper rifle, when I was in the army, I had a friend who played tons of war games, right? And he would only use sniper rifles up close.
Oh god, I legitimately got really good in the source version of this game because the sniper rifle in Day of Defeat source is not random when you fire it. It's always in the center of the screen. And I naturally, after playing for a while, I got used to where my brain created where the crosshair was, and I no-scoped everyone.
Yeah, that's what he's like.
Yeah.
Like, he's at the point where like he can just like pretty much kill anyone whenever he wants when playing a game. And I'm like, it's the most aggravating thing because you'll see his kill screen. You're like, you're not even anywhere near the guy you killed him with a sniper rifle at your hip.
Yeah.
How?
You're just instant dead.
Yeah, it's the most annoying thing. But you know what? He's good at it, so I can't fault it.
A lot of this one had a lot of objectives, Like there were 5 maps on the field, and you had to capture all of them to win.
Okay.
So there was that. I think there was a bomb one where one team had to plant a bomb, the other.
So payload.
Yeah, it was like a couple like that. The capture the point was the most famous, the most recognizable.
It still exists in pretty much every game
Speaking
today.
of famous, Ricochet. Not really.
No, this says Ricochet.
That's how it's Ricochet. It's pronounced Ricochet,
Okay.
sir.
So my brain, whenever I hear Ricochet, goes to 2 places. One's wrestling, so you don't care about that. The
No.
other's a different form of wrestling. The show, Mucha Lucha, where you get the character Ricochet versus the leprechaun Rick O'Shea, and they battle for who has the name Ricochet. It's one of my favorite episodes. And every single time you talk about this, because he talks about Half-Life mods more than you might think a person talks about Half-Life mods. Like, I will know, these come up in passing conversations before we were prepping for this, passing conversations at least once a month.
Yeah.
You would mention Ricochet. And he would ask me to play it with him.
You didn't own it.
I don't own it, no.
And it's like $5 without like a sale.
Not worth it. Anyway. But whenever you mention, my brain would instantly just go to the Mucha Lucha guy and the pinball thing, and my brain's just like, that's a game?
Yeah.
I just thought I should mention that the entire time you've been talking about, that's where my brain is. And my brain will be there while we talk about it now, so go ahead.
So it was like Tron. Think Tron.
What part of Tron?
They throw disc at each other to eliminate
Oh, so
each
the
other.
disc games.
Yes.
Because there's also the bike game.
Yeah,
and then
it's
there's
the disc.
And then there's the stick game.
Hockey?
No, where
I've
they
never
fight. They fight over like a thing, and you knock the person off to win.
But this
The
was...
disc one's probably the most fun to make out of an. Although I guess maybe the racing one. No, it's still easy. As soon as you get ahead of someone, just cut them off.
Yeah. So this was like a free-for-all match,
Mm-hmm.
and it had like floating platforms, imagine in space,
Mm-hmm.
and you jump between them and you throw disc at each other. And there was like power-ups in the map, so like you could get like you fire 3 instead of just 1,
Mm-hmm.
or like a power shot that just kills you. You just murder people.
Cole,
Yeah?
this is a no. Add Tron to the list.
Okay, adding Tron. So the goal was to either kill your opponent or knock them off, and there was like little bars on the side, right? And you could ricochet off them and hit them from behind.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Hence
So
the name.
Yes, and there was like multiple levels, but you couldn't aim, like you couldn't shoot up. You had to shoot on your level.
Okay.
Yeah, like a cake.
Now, if only it was Doom. Why did that go? Oh, it killed him anyway.
So like you could jump between them, and there were little like jump pads to go up and down and across. It
Launch
was
you up.
never popular, and it never gained like its notoriety. I think it might be the worst Valve game, but that's not saying much because they're all pretty good.
Valve's got a really good hit record.
They just stopped making games. It's easy.
Not even that, just like they made a good amount of games when they were making games regularly. It's just
Yeah.
they just stopped while they were ahead.
Yeah.
Like, we'll just sell other people's games.
At one point, we'll have a versus match of Ricochet.
Okay.
So we went from the least popular to the most popular, CounterStrike.
I still love the fact that CS:GO was safe by knife skins.
I mean, it would have still been popular, just like this made it explode on the market.
Yeah.
So
I was
this
about to
mod
say
was.
something.
What are you gonna say?
Oh, the reason I told you to add Tron to the list, you listeners can enjoy this. I remember Tron Legacy as a movie, and I want to talk about it.
I've never seen it. I've never seen any of the Trons. I think there's a couple games, just cause.
Yes, it also appears in Kingdom Hearts, so I wanted to cover that as well.
Oh God. Now, I've watched videos of people trying to explain those plots. I don't understand.
In Kingdom Hearts,
Yeah.
the first one's really easy to understand.
Yeah, but all the additional games just.
Yeah, as soon as you get into like Chain of Memories and Coded and 358 over 2 days, yes, that is the correct pronunciation.
I hate you.
No, that really is. People say 358 half days. No, it's 358 over 2 days. We're not talking about this. We're talking about Counter-Strike.
Yes.
So I would like to know. I do have experience with Counter-Strike. My NCO in the Army would LAN party this all the time.
Really?
So we would hang out in the barracks playing Counter-Strike.
So I went to school and our computer science teacher had if we got an A or higher on the test, you could play video games afterward.
Part 2. In my Microsoft certification class in high school, my friend and they would LAN party it there too.
So like that was like in those classes I studied my hardest because there's nothing worse than being the kid who can't join the LAN party.
Right?
Yeah.
No, so for everyone, Microsoft certification class is legitimately you get PowerPoint certified, you get Word certified, you get Excel certified. I passed all 3 of them on the first test, so I didn't do anything for the class.
So you just played CounterStrike.
I played CounterStrike, and the guy sitting next to me also was a game developer. He programmed games, so he was just like, "Hey, demo this game while you sit there and do nothing all day at class." I legitimately had an hour and 15 minutes of nothing to do every day. It was
This
awesome.
is probably like one of the #1 game. Like, this became more popular than Half-Life ever. And
Yeah.
it was an esports, like alongside StarCraft. This is the esports scene.
Yeah. Well,
And it.
yeah.
What other game, Jared?
League of Legends.
No, this was beforehand. This is.
I mean, before it, yeah, but I'm talking about like now.
Oh, sure.
I mean, like, in popularity, games are going to dwindle, right? The problem
Yeah.
with this is military games in general are just dwindling in popularity at this point in time. The market's flooded,
Yeah.
and you're always going to pick the one you like most, and therefore all of them are going to drop and play with.
Yeah.
Games, you know? Anyway,
So you got your terrorist versus counter terrorist, and this is interesting. Like, it had like a buy weapons, and as you killed or plant bombs, you gain more money, and you could get better guns.
Yeah.
It's such a unique way to obtain your guns.
yeah.
It's very like
I remember that being annoyed
yeah.
because I sucked.
I'll get into that, but it had 2 game modes: plant the bomb, which is the most famous.
Yes.
And it had another one, hostage. So the terrorists had their like AI hostage, and you had to get them out as the counter terrorist. Note, you cannot shoot the hostages as the terrorists to just win, because you lose money doing that, and you lose if they die. You're not supposed to shoot them.
I feel proud because I have experience with this one.
Yeah.
I recognize this stuff.
Weirdly, in the original, some of the guns had the wrong names. Like the P90 was the C90.
Yeah.
The AK-47 was the CV-47. The bullpup was the Steyr AUG. The Magnum rifle was supposed to be an AWP. What I don't know why I thought maybe they were like worried about that, but in later editions, it's just like they're called an AWP.
Yeah.
You know, that's what it's called. I never liked this game. Nope. As a kid, I would always be the first one to die, and I'd have to watch everyone else play.
Relatable, same. But you know what, though? I liked it just because I never played it as a kid. I played it as the 2 times I played it were in high school and in the Army.
Now, no, when I did play it in that class I was talking about, it was so much more fun because everyone else was on my same playing field. In fact, I was better than most people because
Were you playing with your brothers back in the day?
I was playing with my brothers back in the day who were always better than me, and they were like
older brothers, of course.
Yeah, they're like 8 years older than me, so of course they're better.
Yeah, I mean,
but
their hand-eye coordination is just, at a level of good. Where yours is like, I'm 9.
I keep getting shot the first time I walk out.
I can't move the mouse right.
But now playing online Counter-Strike is a disaster because I just get shot in the face, and I go back to when I was a kid like, oh, I don't like this anymore.
It's to the point where it's like,
it's way more fun in LAN parties.
Yeah.
You bring down the skill level way down.
And then you get the alcohol involved, and then the skill level just plummets, and no one's good at the game, and that's what I do good.
So the next one, Firearms, the 3rd most popular Source Engine game.
3rd?
Yeah, behind Counter-Strike, behind Team Fortress Classic. It was a semi-realistic, team-based FPS. It had no classes. Instead, it had like a set amount of points you can allocate to what you wanted. Yep.
Okay.
It had a loadout that you could pick. The amount of times you could respawn was based on like a Battlefield on the reinforcement counter.
Okay.
And that you could stop it by completing objectives or gain more.
Okay, what the fuck's his YouTube link?
I believe it is just a link to the trailer.
Okay.
Yes. Because I unfortunately couldn't get gameplay because not many people play these games.
So you want me to loop the trailer while we talk?
No, just play Counter-Strike gameplay.
No, it'll tell the difference.
It'll be fine. It was a really in-depth, realistic, gun, military game. Like, when you put attachments, it wasn't just pop. It was unscrew, take it away, put on the silencer, put it on the MP5, and you have to take off a whole bunch and put it on. It was actually really in depth, and they knew their shit. I believe a lot of these people who worked on this went on to create the first Battlefield game.
Okay. Well, Battlefield didn't get good till Bad Company.
I mean, 1942 and the Battlefield 2 were pretty fun.
Yeah.
From a multiplayer.
Yeah, but it went from, oh, this is a fun game. This is a really good game that everyone should play.
Then Bad Company 2 was probably the best because
Yes.
it had the destructible environment that just added so much.
Yeah.
Wanted, released in 2001, it completely reskinned Half-Life as a Western with revolvers, double barrels, a minigun.
Why a minigun in Western?
Technically, Westerns did have miniguns. They just weren't motorized.
Yeah.
You just had to crank it.
'em.
Yeah.
It's called a crank gun.
Yeah. Is
It's
it?
called a minigun, yeah.
So, in fact, this one had working bots.
Capture the chicken.
Yes, it's capture the flag, but with a chicken. I got you gameplay of that one. You have, and the chicken quacks and barks. As
Do you want me to
carry.
include that just that audio?
Yes.
I'm not going to.
It had its own single player adventure, but I didn't like it. I got like 10 minutes in, got lost, and I said, fuck this, I'll just give them the multiplayer stuff. I remember playing this mostly for the multiplayer. It was like this weird mod that was on my computer that I enjoyed. Remember, I had older brothers, so weird mods would just appear.
Yeah, I can't relate. No PC. I didn't start PC gaming until I was in high school.
Ooh. But yeah, Wanted was like an early rework of it all.
So this is the precursor to Red Dead?
Little bit. Like,
Or is it the precursor to Wanted?
the movie? The next one, Natural Selection. Oh my god, this one is so much fun.
Natural Selection?
Yes.
Okay.
It was released 2002 and Halloween by Unknown Worlds. It was a free-to-play game. And there wasn't, like, there's no, like, nothing to buy. Completely free. It was an asymmetric multiplayer game that pits the Marines and the aliens against each other. Think like StarCraft of Terran. Yes, I know what Wanted is.
The shitty game.
Yes, the shitty game. I'm well aware there's a movie-based game on it.
It's not a movie-based game.
A comic-based game?
I have no idea what it's based off. I know it's not based off the stupid movie.
It could be.
It's not. It's Wanted Weapons of Fate is the name of the game.
Maybe we'll do a dump on it.
No, we won't.
Okay. So anyway, it's an asymmetric multiplayer game with the Marines having an being like standard like shooter stuff, but with a commander who has you build stuff and like drop you guns and upgrades and stuff.
So someone who's playing an RTS with you?
Yes, someone's legitimately in a command chair that you have to defend, doing all the RTS, and they could do the scan of the map and everything. And then you had
aliens.
The aliens who could morph into different creature types, and each one has a role to fill. You have the skulk. You start as a skulk. It's like a dog with spike hands that can climb the walls and like jump at you.
And then you evolve.
You could evolve to a gorge, which is like a pig that built all of your buildings. Different hives. Each map had like 3 hives you could get at a max. The lurker, think like a bat, like a gas and shoot spikes.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
You had the fade, which is like, imagine you, but with mantis hands, and you could like fly around.
Why me?
I don't know. I think you'd be easy to imagine yourself.
Just like a dude with mantis hands?
Yeah, and he like claws at you.
Just like a dude with mantis hands.
And the Onos, which you can see in the top right, it's like a big rhino.
Thing looks like it is good.
Oh, it's like a late game unit.
Yeah, but it still looks like it's good.
Oh, the Onos. Something I should mention, the Onos had such a unique ability it could research into. It could eat people. Other players.
Fucking yes.
And you didn't just die. You went into his stomach and there was like a bar to when you would be digested. If you killed the Onos, you would be saved.
That's really cool, actually. That's a really cool mechanic.
So what you could do is the aliens could like upgrade to have like stealth. You could like if you didn't move, you were cloaked, and if you move slow. So what people would do, you move slow, you sneak up on a dude because you're invisible. Nom, you'd eat a man, then you'd run.
And so like, eat and run. Dine and dash. The dine and dash tactic.
Yes. What? That was always so much fun.
I respect it. Whoever came up with that, you were a genius.
This was such a high quality mod.
Yeah, it seems like it looks like a lot of work went into it. It looks
Yeah. They eventually made natural
more
selection.
work that went into modern games.
Yeah. Like it was so much fun. Like then came out Natural Selection 2, which came out like 10 years later with a lot of similar people. They're kind of different just based on like balancing. Like the aliens now have a commander too. It's more symmetrical a little bit, but I don't know. This will always have a place in my heart. There was also a fun map I should mention.
Is this the one you got? Did you get too much gameplay of this one?
If I was back in the day, but
no one's playing it.
There's barely anyone playing it. So no, sadly, there used to be siege maps, which I loved. Which was like the aliens had an amount of time to like break through the doors and get to the like. The map was like a big long maze, and if the Marines can hold out enough, they can make siege turrets that could shoot buildings through walls. So it was like a late game thing to end the game.
Yeah.
The fun thing about the aliens is if you killed all the hives, the aliens don't just die and lose.
I mean, it makes sense. They're still alive.
They would slowly lose health, but what the Gorges would do is they have a building that could regenerate health. Like a little building you could build as like an outpost for like other aliens to help out as like a builder. So if you made a room in a vent, like a big vent, and you just filled it with regenerating things, you could hide out in there, and like the Marines would have to hunt you down. Also, I want to mention like for some reason, the mod didn't have menus for when you enter the map. In order to pick between like a spectator, an alien, a Marine, and a random, there was like a little room, and you walked to
a side.
A side, yeah. So it was a race. It was a literal race.
So what more people want to be, aliens or people?
It depended what you like. It was really even, honestly.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
But also, you didn't just pick who was commander. It was a race to who was the commander.
Is that just a special spot of the room?
That's just like a chair in the Marine spawn.
Oh, so as soon as you spawn in as Marines, you run to... I wouldn't want to be commander, man. That's a lot of responsibility.
That is, and hopefully you don't get an idiot that's your commander.
So Cole wanted to be commander every time, just to be the idiot.
Well, no, I got yelled a lot.
Yelled at a lot?
Yeah.
I mean, I can see I yell at you a lot, so...
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing came from me yelling at you for showing me pictures of Star Wars ships on your fucking
We'll
computer.
do that at some point.
Anyway, next,
The Specialist.
Les Specialistes.
Do you like The Matrix, Jared? Do you like Kung Fu and Gun Fu? Do you like diving in slow motion in a multiplayer setting? Here you go. Here it is. Lots of trench coats, lots of diving, baby. Any questions?
So I think I now have to comment on the things you asked. I like the first Matrix movies, not the sequels. I love Kung Fu movies, actually.
I mean,
I've always said that Kung Fu movies and the Matrix are the same.
Yeah.
They have the same style of story where the character doesn't actively matter. Everything happen. He's experiencing the story and taking part in it, but he's just the one. It happens around him. He's not the catalyst for it. And I've always, like, the enemies are the catalyst for the stories in Kung Fu movies, you know?
Yeah.
They come to your town, they kill your family, and then you get revenge.
Oddly, this is on the multiplayer, download page. This touted itself as the first multiplayer game with slow-mo. You can activate slow-mo actively with the Q button. And, it was alright. It was fun. Bots worked with it. And they had a legitimate map of, like, the hallway in the Matrix, you know, the big hallway scene. They had that map.
Of course they did.
And you could Kung Fu people.
Although I will know, I'm not a fan of the huge Matrix craze that followed, in, like, the early 2000s.
I don't.
I've never been into the, like, I've liked the Matrix. I didn't understand why it was so revolutionary.
It is weird to think that the biggest thing next to Lord of the Rings is the Matrix movies.
Right?
That's such a weird thing to think.
What was I say? My favorite clip from Family Guy, though, is because of the Matrix, right? Mm-hmm. There's the episode where Lois becomes an anti-vaxxer, right? Which, yeah. But the joke is Peter goes like, "Yes, I will warn the whole world about this." Right after I warn them about the one thing more important, and he runs down and it just cuts to him running down the street. The brothers that made the Matrix are ladies now. They're ladies, and one guy stops him, and he goes like, "What? Like one of them? No, both of them. What are the chances?" Because they both got sex changes. It was like the funniest thing. It's because like I'm watching this episode and then suddenly he runs down the street with that randomly. I'm like, oh my fucking god!
Catch to us more when we do our Matrix dump.
Yeah, that is going to be a dump. Whew, your name's on that one, isn't? No.
I don't.
We have, oh god, that's a special. We'll talk about this later. Earth Special Forces.
What do you know about Dragon Ball?
A lot. I love Dragon Ball. It's a top 5
So this is a Dragon Ball mod, a versus like multiplayer mod.
Wait, DBZ or Dragon Ball?
DBZ.
Okay, then no, I don't like DBZ that much.
Well, do you know a lot about DBZ?
Yes, I know a lot about DBZ. I've seen every episode.
So I played it. You could pick between good and evil, and like I was the pink chubby boy.
Boo.
That thing, yeah. And like you could fly around and fight
Wait,
other people.
Majin Boo.
Yes, I don't know.
Do you have an M on his head?
He was pink and he was pixelated.
He was still chubby, so he's just Boo. Whatever. When he gets skinny, he's Super Boo. When he gets short, he's Kid Boo.
Oh. So yeah, so you could fly around, you could shoot lasers, you could teleport.
Fire your key blasts that are inconsistent.
Like, it had the controls of a fighting game a little bit, because it was, like, so complex.
Did up jump?
Like, up flew.
Oh. Yeah, like, that's one thing that's always been weird about DBZ fighting games is, like, you think of a fighting game, you think of this, like, heavy ground-based combat. They always take it to the air, and it kind of makes a lot of it feel floaty.
Yeah.
Although, I hear Dragon Ball FighterZ is good. I've never played it.
But, yeah, this is an interesting mod. They're still, I think they might be still working on some form of this that actually looks really good. Like a 3D DBZ fighting game.
Well, they've made a bunch.
Well,
I will say that some of them are good. Some of them are Dragon Ball Sagas. Some of them are Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2.
Do you like it?
What, Sagas or Xenoverse 2?
Either.
So Sagas is shit, never play it, it's terrible. And Xenoverse 2 is Xenoverse 1 with like 10 more features and 3 more classes.
Perhaps we will dive more into this when I force Jared to do gameplay with me. And we'll stream it. It actually, this mod works.
Twitch.com/LoreDump.
Yeah. So
plug. Half-Life Rally.
A racing game that I couldn't get to work because when I tried, so there was no servers, and when I tried to make my own server, it screamed at me.
Play Scream now.
Oh god, the horrors! I tried it twice, didn't work. I said fuck it. It looked like a rally game.
Yeah, it's a racing game.
Yeah.
Half-Life, a rally racing game. Was it in dirt? Did you super impressive RX wrap around the dirt?
I think it was through some of the Black Mesa facility.
Through the slime and the goo.
Maybe it was before the cascade.
Before the Resident Cascade.
This one we will have to try.
Sven
Co-op, released in 1999 and still being played to this day. This one actually had people in it, Jared. It was populated.
What was the one we tried to play?
Deathmatch Classic. That was basically Half-Life, but Quake 1 and 2 as like a multiplayer free-for-all match.
He tried to do this weird streaming thing where he streamed it to me.
So the idea is like streaming play, so you can play like couch co-op games with your friends, but this Half-Life game had it. I'm like, can I play this with Jared?
And it turned out we just both controlled the same keyboard.
It was terrible.
I killed him so many times. Anyway, Sven Co-op, still being played.
It is, try playing Half-Life cooperative with your friends. 32 of them. Or 31, I guess. Minus you.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You can play Half-Life, Opposing Force, Blue Shift. You don't even need to own Half-Life to play it. Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was released as a standalone on Steam.
In 2016.
Yep. It has its own maps, mini games, and it's pretty fun. It's interesting, I will say.
Yeah. That sounds actually like a really cool idea. Let's make a giant multiplayer co-op.
From what I understand, a lot of it was not trying to make a mod that wasn't versus, but more cooperative.
Yeah. I like the idea of co-op games.
So when you play Half-Life, it will be literally with me as we run through it. So here we'll get into more of the single-player stuff that I tried. Half-Life Zombie Edition and Point of View. They were custom campaigns. Zombie Edition, you played as a head crab, and you latched onto people's heads.
Did you have a top hat?
No, sadly. No
God
top hat.
Damn it, Cole. I need head crabs with top hats, mustaches, and canes.
You're a first-person point of view. You can't even see your own top hat.
You need to be fancy, damn it. If you're going to stomp on people's heads and become a zombie, you must Be fancy.
What's interesting is you could actually pop off a zombie as a head crab to latch onto someone else to regen your health.
That's pretty cool.
It
What happens
was,
to your zombie bod?
It was okay.
That was a cool idea.
It's a cool idea.
Well, the execution of it's good or not. I can only comment on the idea.
I didn't like walking towards NPCs with guns slowly as I get riddled with bullets.
Right.
The point of view you play as a Vortigaunt. It was okay. I played it for about 20 minutes and I got bored. I'll be realistic with you. Because it's like Half-Life, it's like using your resources and guns and all that.
I'm going to read exactly what he says in here. Point of view is where you play as a Vortigaunt and shoot lightning on invading humans that came to Zen to steal your damn dirty crystal meth.
Yes, they came for your crystal meth.
I really wish you had put meth in parentheses.
I don't know. Maybe the Vorts snort it.
You don't. Vort it.
They Vort it.
I hate me. Okay, we're going to the next one.
Okay.
Azure Sheep.
This one was released in 2001, and you play as like a security guard, and he has to rescue his girlfriend in the facility. It had, and a lot of it was like cinematic and had like cutscenes.
Yeah.
And like, bits of it had Gordon Freeman in a sports car. He drew because
very
like,
un-Gordon Freeman.
Like, it has a pulse rifle in it from Alien.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about this is it came out before Blue Shift.
Oh.
So it predated it
Yeah.
as you playing a security guard in Black Mesa.
Maybe they stole the idea from this. I mean, I'm pretty sure they came out way too close together.
I did not like this mod. I'll be frank.
Honestly, as soon as I read the Gordon Freeman thing, I think Cole probably hated this.
I didn't mind that as funny. It was
but while being funny, and also like the character of Gordon Freeman is this
also
stoic, reserved character.
He talks.
You know? I see. It's fully voice acted.
Yeah, but like, what I didn't like was the gameplay because the hallways all looked the same. It was a maze. I got lost.
So essentially, they focus more on the other aspects and kind of lost the game development aspect.
Also,
the
they didn't give you a melee weapon. So
yeah,
in order to
can
break boxes, because like sometimes you can break a box to like open something, or there might be like a little health in there. You had to shoot it, which is really weird in a Half-Life game. It's actually being remade with the Black Mesa resources. Someone's trying. We'll see. Pokey 646
and Pokey 646.
They
Benedetta.
are sequels.
Benedetta.
Vendetta.
You put an extra E in there. Vendetta. It's actually my favorite movie, V for Vendetta. Anyway.
So, this expanded on the story of the Zen invasion. It had new weapons, new textures, better.
Is it like Pokey as in Pokemon?
No.
Then why is it Pokey?
I read into it. Pokey 646 is a DOS command.
Oh, I don't know DOS.
So,
I know Unix.
The dude was like an old school gamer, and he thought he was making a Half-Life mod, and he wanted a reference to old DOS. And like, this was like very popular.
Okay.
Like a really popular single player mod, really well done. Like it was fun. Like all the weapons are reskinned and there's new ones and all that.
Yeah.
It was released later as an anniversary edition. If you go to play this, play the anniversary edition. It has both.
Okay.
Combined, and they work properly because Half-Life's a game that doesn't stop updating.
True.
And like there was a difference between the mods before Half-Life came to Steam and after, because they're kind of different and they work differently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little hard to get working sometimes. Resident Evil Cold Blood.
Resident Evil Cold Blood.
That really does sound like a Resident Evil title.
Yeah, I mean, imagine it as Biohazard Cold Blood.
I imagine a lot of lizards. Or like Code Veronica.
I mean, I think of like you know, cold-blooded murder.
Like Code Veronica. It's like in the winter, like it's like snowy.
No, I don't think of genuinely cold. I think
it's cold in his blood.
I think like it'd be like Wesker murdering Claire, and then she revives as a zombie. You play as zombie Claire.
Interestingly, this is a multiplayer mod. Where you had to go through and complete objectives in like Raccoon City or whatnot.
Co-op?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was released back in '07. Beta 3 was released in April of 2019. And the Savannah Co-op, because apparently that has advancements on the Gold Source engine that they realized, like, I think they were trying to get it work with Savannah Co-op, and they're like, wait, this one's easier. I tried Beta 2 because I didn't know Beta 3 existed. I'm letting you all know so you don't do my mistake of trying to install Beta 2. It did the same thing as Rowley, and it screamed at me. Well, wait, no, it didn't scream, it just crashed.
Oh.
Every time I tried to make a map.
Okay. So, play Beta 3.
Yeah.
That's the moral of that story.
Maybe me and Jared will play this together on stream.
Afraid of monsters and
This
cry
is
of fear.
This one's a very famous Half-Life mod. Very popular. Very well claimed as a pretty good horror game. Both are horror games. Afraid of Monsters was a legitimate mod.
Guess that they're horror games based on titles.
I don't know. Are you afraid of monsters?
They both have fear, or a root word of fear, or afraid, or
I grouped these together because they're both made by the same person. The first one was like a Half-Life mod. People loved it, and he got such like good reception that he kept making it. And it's like standalone on Steam. Go play it right now. I played it. Cool. It was spooky. It had jump scares. I didn't like it. There's a bitch with knife hands that came at me, and I learned I have a really itchy trigger finger.
I think I should note right now that both me and Cole are not the best when it comes to horror games.
She came at a corner around me. I just unloaded on her.
Yeah. Anyway,
I unloaded on that bitch, but then I ran out of ammo and I had to rely on the melee combat.
And then you died.
Yeah.
Rapidly.
It was sad. But very good. Check it out. Oh, another campaign mod. This one uses the beta textures and tried to...
Half-Life Absolute Zero.
Yes.
Please.
Fine. Absolute Zero before Half-Life, if you will. The zero, like before zero, like a -0.
Like Kelvin?
Yeah. Or like Celsius.
No, Kelvin's Absolute Zero.
You're Kelvin.
No, I'm Jared. Hi, Cole, and welcome to the LoreDump podcast.
So anyway, Star Trek's Kelvin Timeline.
Okay, a campaign mod that tries to use...
So, it used a lot of, like, the beta textures. You know, all those weird, dumb, like, the Panther.
Yeah, okay, so, like, all the ones that they
didn't use, and they used better textures. This guy said, I really like those. What if they were in the game instead? It was interesting. It's an interesting, like, what-if scenario.
Yeah.
I mean, not as great as Half-Life, but it's weird. It was, like, weird to play through that a little bit. Next one's Brutal Half-Life and Half-Payne. Yes.
Half-Payne, a Max Payne Half-Life Mac combo?
Yes.
Yes! I got it!
That one's really good. It has Twitch integration, and it even has, like, randomizers. Like, and they were awful, Jared. They were awful. Like, imagine, you know how you kept fucking with me in the deathmatch? Imagine that, but the game does it automatically. Suddenly, you're upside down, the map flips, or the camera flips on you.
I respect it.
Suddenly my controls were inverted.
My two of my top 10 favorite games of all time are games that just fuck with the player.
Suddenly, when I walk forwards, I walk backwards. It just did that. That was the other mod, but it's really fun. It kind of rebalanced it, but in a good way. Mm-hmm. Like, so in Half-Life, you have health bar and an armor bar.
Yeah.
Max doesn't have armor.
True.
And you're not playing Gordon Freeman. You're playing Max.
Max.
And you gain, like, painkillers that you can pop. So you have, like, 9 painkillers, and, like, you take a lot of damage, you can take them. But you always have that health on hand to use that you can store up. So it takes the place as armor, basically.
Yeah.
And you have, like... And a lot of slow motion, baby. That's the whole reason this mod's great. Because you go slow motion, you go...
Max Payne's bullet time has always been really good.
Yeah, and this one's really good, too.
By the way, the two games that I talked about earlier that just dick with the player, Eternal Darkness, great. My favorite.
What's
Not my
the
favorite
other
game,
one?
but it's one of my favorite games of all time. Original Metal Gear Solid, man.
Oh, yeah, it does do that.
Where you gotta switch the controller to the other port, where he reads your memory card to tell you what games you play.
What?
So good.
So, The Max Payne gave you like new weapons, the dual pistols that Max Payne's known for, Uzis and dual Uzis.
Mm-hmm. Doozies, if you will.
Yeah, just like it was really fun. And like after playing 40 hours of Half-Life, changing the gameplay like to that amount was great.
Yeah.
And then I played Brutal Half-Life, which is very bloody.
Is it like Brutal Doom?
It is heavily influenced with Brutal Doom to the point of where it even has like
I know that mod.
Doom guns in it.
Like, you know what it should be? Half-Life with just put Gordon
So,
Freeman in Doom.
I will say, if you do play these mods, feel free to cheat. It makes it way more fun. Especially with Brutal Doom, because if you cheat, it gives you the mods exclusive guns, which are like the Quake rocket launcher, which is awesome.
Yes.
The BFG, some of the plasma guns from the Quake games.
Oh, I should mention, the only experience I have with Quake is the PS1 game.
Why? Why do you have the worst version?
It's the first version of Diablo I played too.
Why?
Because when I was a kid, I didn't have a PC. I had a PlayStation 1. And that's it. I had an N64, but I got stolen. I had a PS1, and I got a PS2.
So you weren't able to experience the N64 StarCraft game?
I've never played any StarCraft game, ever. None.
Oh my god.
RTSs aren't my bag.
I like them.
You're the FPS and RTS guy. I'm the everything else, I guess. I don't know. I do play a bunch of
JRPGs.
That's my favorite genre, but I play like everything, you know. I don't play FPSs, but I play horror games a lot.
Yeah.
I play action adventure games probably more than you.
These two mods are actually quite recent.
Yeah, they sound recent. I mean, Max Payne.
Like they're very recent and like they're a ton of fun to check out and just play through. Hopefully they release themselves with like custom campaigns so I don't have to play through the Half-Life maps again.
Done. They get a full-fledged like, you know, standalone thing.
And then the other one that changes the whole game.
Crack Life?
Crack Life.
Oh, you saved the worst for last.
What if 4chan made a Half-Life game? It is really the worst thing ever. Like, so in the beginning, there's the tram ride, right? And there's like a speaker of like announcements that are happening in Black Mesa.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the N-word. There's a lot of just like telling you suck.
A lot of
like,
just being on 4chan.
Annoying and 4chan and bad jokes.
No offense to you if you like 4chan. I used to frequent 4chan in my high school days.
I've never frequent 4chan.
In my high school days, I would, and you know, you kind of get desensitized to things, and then like I had to come out of that for a while, and now I'm like, holy crap, I was a horrible human being for a couple of years of my life.
I've never dived in that source, but God, this mod. Feel free to put this in the video and swap it out for all the other Half-Life gameplay. So if suddenly like a black dude has a fro in Half-Life, you'll know.
It's just a little bit racist.
This game.
A lot of it racist.
All of it's racist.
Now's probably a bad time for it.
Very
Given
bad.
current events and all. Anyway, missed mods.
I missed a bunch. I missed They Hunger, a really popular single player. Science and Industries, a versus game where you capture each other's flags, but you gain like research points to research like science weapons. It was never really popular, but I always thought it was cool. I wish I could have gone more into it. Afraid of Monsters.
It's in there.
It's in there, but I didn't get gameplay of it.
Okay, Half-Life Rally, which screamed at you.
It screamed at me. I didn't like it, Jared.
RE Cold Blood.
Didn't work. Half Nuked, which is if Duke Nukem is in the Half-Life.
I like how I can guess these things.
Half-Life Echoes, a really good single-player campaign of Half-Life. I watched a little bit of people play it. Just really good. They even make use of Mr. Friendly.
Okay. If you don't remember who Mr. Friendly is, please go back and listen to our previous episode.
It's very phallic.
He's a penis with like praying mantis hands who crawls on the ground and tries to kill you.
Zen
he was
Warrior.
designed by a 12-year-old, and 12-year-olds are the worst people ever.
Yeah, I
As
think.
Childish Gambino once said, "I'm sorry, this kid's a demon."
And the other one was like Zen Warrior, which is like. So it's in the same vein of like the Zombie Edition or Point of View.
Oh, I thought it was like a Xena Warrior Princess.
What? I'm confused. So you get to play as the alien grunt. Invading.
You're the invading force.
Yeah.
I always love games where like you're the alien, but you're not evil. You know, because like especially in movies, right? We always get this black and white kind of depiction of alien bad, human good, or human bad, alien good, you know?
Yeah.
We never really get this, like, the alien is good and the humans are good and they're collectively fighting. It's like E.T., you know?
Yeah.
Like the buddy alien stuff. You don't really get that in video games.
I mean, technically an alien, the alien isn't inherently evil. It's just like an animal.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's the antagonist.
It's also
right?
trying to eat you.
Yeah, the antagonist, right? And there's a difference between being bad and being the antagonist. What I mean, though, is, like, you don't really get that in video games too often. You don't get the story of, like, you know, you don't get that story. Like, think about famous alien games. You got Alien Hominid, where, you know, you play as the alien and the world is trying to destroy you.
What about Destroy All Humans?
You're kind of evil as the aliens there.
I mean, depends on your point of view.
But no, what I'm saying is, it's always a versus. There's very little games where the humans and aliens, like, E.T. isn't a game. It is a game, but it's not a game. You know what I mean?
Maybe we'll play.
I'm never playing E.T. for the Atari.
I mean, there's not much to that game.
There's a lot, just because it takes forever to do anything. Anyway, we're wrapping this episode up a little bit early, especially since I still have to make up for the fact that the Predator went 40 minutes long.
Well, that's a lot of your fault.
I hate you.
You kept going off
so
script.
much.
You kept going off script.
Asking questions is my job when I don't host.
How
anyway,
dare you?
As we talked about last time, we're now starting Resident Evil month. Or as we're going to call it, Biohazard month, because
it's a better title.
it is. It's objectively better, and I understand, but still, Resident Evil means nothing.
Yep. So, if I missed any mods, let me know. We might come back to this. Maybe I'll drag Jared into recording some gameplay and actually experiencing these mods with me.
You can catch us on Twitch at twitch.com/LoreDump. You can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/dumplore. And
like,
YouTube,
subscribe, lick,
and YouTube,
touch,
it's LoreDump, and find us anywhere you can find a podcast.
bell, ring-a-ding, my dingy-ding.
And after this, Cole's going to be doing Resident Evil 0, 1, 2, and 3, and then the week after that, I'm doing Resident Evil 4, 5, 6, and 7.
You know, you got the best, but you also got the worst, so I'm not
Right?
sure where I
think you got the more average quality of it, right? Because you got the you can play the one remake instead of one.
Yeah.
You play 2 remakes instead of 2. Play the original 3, I guess, because apparently people don't like the new one.
Maybe I will, maybe I won't.
And then, like, 0 is just an okay game. It's really short.
I
Whereas
wonder-
I have 7, which will make me shit my pants.
You
I have
6.
4, which is amazing, but I only have the PC port, and it's got mixed reviews on the internet.
Yeah.
I have 5, which you're going to help me play, or else I will kill you. And I have 6, which I've never played, but I know it's just an action game where you have an assault rifle through half of it.
Oh my god. And like, it's a third-person action game in an era that finally figured out how to do third-person action games, but it has the RE controls.
Yes, it doesn't work. But yeah, I am excited about 7 because I was never able to beat it, although I called the ending.
We are looking forward to RE Village.
Yes, and also the new RE show announced by Netflix.
Woo!
So both of those seem very interesting. So and
please.
then after that, we're going to do RE Monsters or RE other games, you know, like the Raccoon City, the Outbreak Files, those things. And then to end October, we're doing the movies.
Oh god, no.
And
look, the show cannot be any worse than the movie.
it has a mansion. That was enough to get me excited. That's how bad the movies are. Just the sight of a mansion got me excited.
Like, they understood it.
The guy made Supernatural. He loves the series. Supernatural's first 5 seasons are amazing. I mean, the rest of the show's okay, but the
I never
5
watched
seasons are
it.
great. They wrote the first 5 seasons together to end the show, and then they got a 6th season, and they had to write more. So ever since then, they've been kind of like writing as they go, rather than having a super planned out plot like they did. Anyway, I wish to wrap this up. I had 3 minutes of this time.
All right, so
thank you for joining us. We always appreciate any listen you get.
Yeah.
You can ever do anything else to support us. Follow us on all the things we listed earlier. And as always, we'll see you soon.